Thank you, everyone. This is our first time in Istanbul, and we are very excited. And we've been invited to share with you this baby of ours. It's a gastrodiplomacy project that we created a few years ago, and that became quite big and successful. So we hope it inspires you to do something in Turkey with it, or wherever you're from. However it can help you. We have to be very short because we have only a few minutes, but we are going to be around and we're reachable also. You will see the webpage afterwards. So feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to answer questions and to help anyone do what we did for Spain. So let's start to eat Spain up.
Well, what is Eat Spain Up? Eat Spain Up is a non-profit initiative that seeks to Spain's food culture closer to the public abroad via collaborate network of partners. The initiative is materialized in an annual event that takes place in a different city around the world. The project has been organized in cities like New York City, Oslo, Stockholm, and Washington, D.C. in the U.S. Well, the event includes some activities every year, always includes this kind of activities: exhibitions of food photography and books, screenings of food-related audiovisual material, talks around food culture and culinary creativity, special menus in participant restaurants, master classes in educational institutions, cooking demos with very recognized Spanish chefs, tasting of Spanish food products and dishes, and networking sessions for professionals.
I'd like to answer this question for you. Why did we create Eat Spain Up? Why did we think it was important? When we started this project back in 2013, Spain gastronomy was one of the most acclaimed cuisines in the world. Spanish chefs with a new culinary vision were everywhere in the media, both in Spain and abroad. But this media explosion around the world, contrary to what institutions in Spain thought, was really quite limited and visible only to professionals and food enthusiasts. It was not something that everybody in the public really knew about, even though we in Spain like to believe that. There were other, more powerful and competing messages about what Spanish cuisine was that had a wider and deeper impact in the public. We had, for example, the classical clichés of sangria and paella, which were still very much alive in the minds of the public and had been extensively used by tourism institutions in Spain to promote our country abroad. We also had the new myth of tapas, which was everywhere and actually had people believe that all we ate was tapas at home, abroad, and everywhere. And this was actually mainly promoted by the Spanish restaurants abroad, which obviously caught on to that trend because it was widely, it was interesting for the public abroad, and it was well welcomed. We also had this promotional initiatives from different Spanish entities with different objectives that were actually, oops, sorry, I forgot this, that were actually shooting out different and incoherent messages that actually confused the public a lot. So these competing messages did obviously not create a coherent image of our country's gastronomy. And more importantly, they were not able to transmit the richness of our food heritage and use its potential to support the cultural, the touristic, and the commercial interests of Spain abroad. In this scenario, we realized that the cultural approach, which was completely missing from the picture, was in fact the most effective way to provide a diverse but coherent message to the public about what Spain's food culture was. Eat Spain Up was created as a way to expose the wider public to the many aspects of Spain's food culture, the richness and variety of its food products, its culinary traditions, and its culinary creativity. Our objectives were mainly three. First of all, to promote deeper cultural exchange between Spain and the host countries where we held the events. Secondly, to promote food tourism to Spain with a deep cultural interest, so not just promote tourism to higher level tourists who would come to the Michelin star restaurants. And thirdly, to promote Spanish food products abroad, providing exporters with a deeper and more interesting message about their products by linking them to our food culture.
So, how did we do it?
That's the million-dollar question. So first of all, we did this already. Our first step in planning the event, even before we reached out to the partners that we obviously needed to do this, was to identify an ideal location for the event. At Eat Spain Up, we did this in two steps. First of all, we identify the locations that are prioritary or of high interest to the main institutional partners that could or should be interested in supporting our project. That is to say, the national entities in charge of tourism, in charge of trade and agriculture, and in charge of culture and foreign relations. These entities are going to be interested in very specific things. The tourism entities are obviously going to be interested in promoting the country to either established or developing tourism markets. The more commercial entities, like the trade office, the export office, are going to be interested in promoting our cuisine and our food culture only in countries where we have exports, because otherwise it kind of makes no sense, because they're not supporting the sales. And also the political and cultural institutions will have a more interest in countries with high political relevance or high cultural relevance for Spain. So once we have a set of countries that we think are prioritary for our main partners, we need to actually filter that and find feasible destinations that have strong destination partners. And as destination partners, we will normally need one or two strong cultural institutions that have links to Spain, also commercial partners in the food area that can support us by providing us with products, with Spanish products there. Also Spanish restaurants that we can partner with so that people can actually taste what we're doing. And also culinary education institutions that can help us with the master classes, with the demos, and all of this.
So once we have selected a destination, how we choose our partners? We need, first of all, institutional and financial support, Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Tourism, and Ministry of Trade, so this first part. Also, we need the support of institutions that provide us content in addition to financial support. We offer these partners the relationship with other institutions in terms of gastrodiplomacy or the opportunity to open new business and attract new audiences. We need also sponsors in origin and in the destination. These sponsors must have commercial and promotional interest in the destination. And we offer an intersectorial promotion and the opportunity to know new markets. And finally, we need the support of local institutions, companies, educational institutions, restaurants. All these collaborators are interested in Spanish gastronomy and Spanish culture, and they help us with logistics and infrastructure, promotion, and being the venues of our activities. We offer a very exclusive content to their very focused to their interests and objectives.
And so finally, how do we actually create the content for our events? At Eat Spain Up, once we have the partners in place, and only once we have the partners in place, we decide what is relevant at that particular location. So our activities must respond to three main criteria. First of all, they must respond to our partners' objectives in order to be effective. We must create activities that respond to their main priorities. And also, we have to be careful to have enough activities so that we can respond to the competing objectives of some of our partners, which are typically the regions, which are also sponsors, and they each want to promote their own region, so they will have competing priorities, and we need to have enough events so that they can all be featured in kind of, balanced way. Our activities must also, very importantly, respond to our audience's expectations and needs. They must respond also to what they know about our country already, because if you start telling them the story from scratch, and they are, for example, a country that travels a lot to Spain, that is obviously not effective. But if you maybe start at a very deep level, and it's a country that is remote from Spain and they don't know, that is also obviously not effective. So we have to understand what they know about us and also what issues are relevant to them so that we can select the content to what is interesting and relevant for them. And finally, we have to be representative of our country, which means that we need to make sure we are providing a diverse and accurate representation of what Spanish food culture is. And that means a lot of things. It means explaining about the regionality. It means explaining that there is a tapas culture, but there's also home cooking culture, that we have amazing chefs doing innovative things, but that we also have a history of moms in the kitchen. All of these things, we have to provide content so that we can provide this diverse message. And I also wanted to say that how we create the content is highly collaborative, and we do this with our partners.
Well, taking one of our events as an example, the event that we will have organized in Washington, D.C., we had, in Washington, D.C., we had over 4,000 visitors in total in all the activities. This is the Spanish embassy in Washington, D.C. Also, we generated a highly interested events where the public participate actively in all the activities. We had also more than 80 press articles in very important media, in TV, radio, and in printed and digital media, and also 100,000 of impacts in social networkings. We had also a new food product spots included in restaurants and food distributors, and participation from the top Spanish public institutions representing the areas of culture, tourism, commerce, and foreign relations. More than 40 partnerships gathered with public and private entities working together towards the same objective. And for the first time, the food took the center of the stage in cultural institutions. In summary, we are able to share our food culture and to promote our country's products and tourism in a meaningful way.
Very cool. So, to end this, we want to share with you what we learned from all of these events, from all of these partners, and from all of this work. We have condensed our learnings in 4 very simple tips that are very easy to remember. First of all, make it worthwhile. For your partners, make sure it serves their purpose. Make it relevant for the audience. Understand what they want to hear and what they need to hear. Make it personal to you, not institutional. Share your culture. and also make it fun for everybody. So with that, we're just going to invite you to eat Spain up.
Thank you very much for your attention.